The Greenville Triumph are rolling back into Greenville, South Carolina with 3 points in tow after a 4-0 victory last week over North Texas SC. Today, featuring against their budding rivals, Tormenta FC. Both teams coming in with a chance to really move up these USL League One standings. I'm Chris McCoviak alongside me, Ross Davenport, bringing the action here from the campus of Legacy Early College. A great rivalry so far this season, albeit on the defensive end. And really, as I mentioned, an opportunity for both sides to make their name known in the playoff conversation.
Yeah, as tight as the meetings between these two teams have been all season, the standings are just as tight. A win for Greenville tonight could propel them into the playoff positions where Tormenta already are.
Yeah, for both of these teams, they've looked better and better on the offensive end. Tormenta, they look their best so far this season. Their most goals in a game this season against Orlando City B. They're able to get one against Lansing, but able to salvage a point, which should give them that confidence entering this week.
Yeah, scored 4 goals in this game, as you can see, all from the right-hand side. But again, their last 3 wins have come twice against Orlando City B and once against Richmond, 2 of the struggling teams in League One.
Yeah, one player you see very involved in this film in front of us is Marco Micheletto. He is out today due to yellow card accumulation. So it'll be interesting to see how Tormenta builds that lineup, and we'll take a look at that, of course, in our starting 11s coming up after our first break. On Greenville's side of things, they were able to really get things going with their most goals in a game this season. Pretty obvious at 4 goals. They've only had 2 in a couple games this season so far, but they took advantage of that red card by North Texas in the first half, and boy, they came out firing in that second half.
Yeah, it took them a while to get going, but they showed good patience, and that strike there from Aaron Walker opened the scoring, and the floodgates really continued to open from there. Jake Keegan with a nice finish.
Yeah, spreading out the scoring as well. Jake Keegan getting a brace on the day. Edmundo Robinson coming off the bench with a good showing as well, drawing this PK and then converting it to put the icing on the cake down in Frisco, Texas at Toyota Stadium. So coming into today, 2 teams with maybe some confidence of late. Which way will it give? Tormenta Greenville, Chapter 3 here in USL League One this season. Coming up next, starting 11s right here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Greenville, South Carolina. Today's matchup between Tormenta and Greenville, the 3rd edition here in League One, 4th in all competitions. As we watch all the players come out onto the field, we'll take out our starting 11s here on ESPN+. For Greenville, the home side here today, Ross, what we have typically seen so far this season. Tormenta, though, a bit of changes out there. And for anybody familiar with the squad, you see a number 11 left back spot. So we're really interested to see overall how Charlie Dennis is going to play this position and move ahead on the field.
It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, Marco Micheletto is suspended for this evening, so Shinya Kodono, the new signing, who scored late in the midweek tie. And then Charlie Dennis, yeah, left back. That's going to be an interesting one. He's more of a midfielder or an attacking midfielder and striker sometimes. He actually played striker in the last game against these guys, against Greenville. So we'll see how he goes back there.
And John Milracy, not at the helm today, suspended for the match, but certainly traveling with the team. He'll be in the area for the match. Greenville, though, at the home side, not too many changes here, as we do see Kevin Paulus facing an injury this week in training, as Dominic Boland will take over that right back spot.
Yeah, Paulus could be a key loss. He hasn't missed a minute in League One this season as part of that nice center back pairing with Evan Lee. But Cole Seiler has played center back this season, so we'll see if this combination can work well tonight.
And we'll have to see how Max Hemmings and Boland really truly line up. And that was kind of a key change into that North Texas matchup, where Hemmings was playing a lot of right back. And John Harks told us this week that that's something he did in preseason when he was training with the squad. It turned out really well with Boland offering some assistance from the wing as it moved on the offensive end.
No, I think John Harks knows that with the size of this roster, he wanted to bring players in that could play multiple positions, Cole Seiler being the prime example of that, and now he's proved the same with Dominic Boland and Max Hemmings.
And we're underway here from Greenville, South Carolina. Tormenta and Greenville, fourth time meeting in all competitions this season. They had that Open Cup battle earlier on in this summer, but the third time in League One they'll meet here. They'll meet again down in Tormenta at Statesboro, Georgia, for the final time this season, and that truly will be probably for a potential playoff spot as we hit down the wire in a really crammed League One that I, at this point, had the expectation that it's going to come down to the final match day to figure out all four of these playoff teams.
It's absolutely insane. You could throw a blanket over everybody from almost third through eighth. And win tonight for Greenville would push them up. If they got a little bit of help as well elsewhere, it could push them up into the playoff spots, which is amazing.
Yeah, and the one sure thing really in this league was, if you're hosting this game, you should come away with points. Well, we talked about last week where two undefeated home teams went down in Toronto and also North Texas. And Toronto losing their last two as they lost to Madison on Wednesday. So things really shaking up. And Greenville, a win today. Yes, they will be in playoff position, fourth overall, depending on what other teams do as well, of course. But to be seen as the night goes on here in USL League One. Play begins here with Greenville, cross in by Boland, but into the side netting as Pablo Hara will watch that go on. As those following League One know all this season, probably the two best defenses in front of us in all of League One, as Greenville showing 8 clean sheets this season and Tormenta with 9 of their own, but it comes down to goals against average, as well, with Greenville giving up 0.76 per game this season and Tormenta giving up 0.8. North Texas in the conversation as well in the clean sheet category, but they do give up a bit more GAA than these two clubs.
Yeah, man, as all three beatings between these teams have showed this season, it's going to be a tight one. Low scoring, but no shortage of drama. We had the Alex Morel goal in the first ever League One contest, and then we had the Cole Seiler Legacy Leap, obviously, in the US Open Cup. So even if it's a tight contest, there's sure to be drama at some point tonight.
Throw in, Muhammad taking it in towards the end line, but driven out of play as it was Phelps in the area to help out the effort. Hara will have the goal kick. And Ross making a good point there. Of the 3 matches, just 2 goals scored between these two teams. So that surely will feature as the theme here today. John Harks at the helm today for the Greenville Triumph once again, leading them to their 6-6-5 overall record, 4-3-2 here at Legacy Early College, and certainly looking to build off that momentum from the shutout on the road last week.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Harts about how much confidence that victory gave this team, and he said his view on confidence is more the performance rather than the result, and they've been playing a lot better of late. I mean, take away that 3-1 loss at home to Tucson, which was a bit of an aberration. Probably should have been a little bit closer than that. We had obviously the late counter-attacking goal, but they're starting to get things together a little bit. The goals have started to come, bounces have started to go their way, and a win tonight would be huge for them going into a tough road schedule coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah, you talk about with these strikers in the soccer world, it's all about confidence in many cases. As Muhammad goes down, the ball went out of play. It's throw-in for Tormenta. And Jake Keegan getting a brace. He's up to 7 goals this season, tied for 3rd in League One goals. And for the Golden Boot race, of course, as Muhammad still having a rough time getting up after maybe hitting the signage there on the end of that. We'll take another look here to see exactly what happened.
Needed a thigh and a hard landing from Muhammad there. He used to be all right, though.
Ran the ball out of play and brought down in the end by Phelps. But confidence for Keegan, but also Shinya Kadona, who came in on a loan from Loudoun United in USL Championship, of course, the affiliate of DC United. And sending, of course, Cadona down for the rest of the season with Tormenta.
I mean, what a fine finish that was for a guy that's just come into it, hasn't started a game in a long time. He come into a game that they really needed to win, and obviously ended up just being a draw thanks to Pablo Jara's amazing save. But that was a key goal that could come back to be a factor at the end of the season with the way these standings are looking so tight.
Yeah, Tormenta, a team that they're not happy with where they are in the standings, looking to increase their place overall. They're adding Kobe Perez this week as well, coming up from Tormenta 2 in USL League 2. As you saw there, Jorge Gonzalez kind of taking more of the leadership role on the squad this week, as he's someone that John Milracy brought in from SWV Kings Warriors in the USL League 2 days. Some tensions already boiling here at Legacy Early College. But John Milracy ejected in the match against Lansing Ignite last week. Very tense match towards the end of things that saw a PK save in the 97th minute by Pablo Jara that preserved things and able to get a point at home for Tormenta.
And when John Hark saw that save by Pablo Jara, he was thinking, I've seen that a few times this season against us. I mean, that save he made from Max Hemmings in one of the earlier meetings was just one of the best saves of the season.
Oof. Dennis going in for a collision against Gomez, out of play, throwing coming for Greenville.
Yeah, that's one thing about putting Charlie Dennis back there, left back. He's not afraid to make a tackle. He's a very good physical presence at 6'2" and a solid body.
And that's one thing from the beginning of the season that this Tormenta backline was known for, including the injury on Lars Eckenrode back early in the season against OCB, still out, unfortunately, due to that injury. But this backline was so physical, able to take on so many opponents, and Dennis certainly fits the bill. Knocked on by Walker. Here comes Keegan, laying it off here for Dominic Boland, looking for the cross. He'll cut it inside to the box. The shot, curling one, bit dangerous. Out of play. Corner kick, though, on the deflection in favor of the Triumph.
Yeah, Dominic Boland's got himself a couple of assists from the right back spot this season when he's played, and that wasn't a bad strike there. It was a lot closer than it almost looked initially off the foot. It got a deflection and only a couple of feet past Pablo Jara's far post.
The young Scotsman today making his 11th start of the season for Greenville. And again, up towards that wing position, it looks like early on in this match. It's a corner kick, Gomez over it.
And this is one spot where John Harks may have had to get a little tricky with this height of this Tormenta defense. Greenville does have Evan Lee and Cole Seidel that can knot it in there, but then nowhere near as tall as this Tormenta backline. Standing corner there, cleared away.
Headed up and away by Tormenta. Morel knocking it ahead. Here's Jackson. Jackson through Muhammad, service out wide. There's Tyler Pollock. Driven back the other way. Tormenta keeping the attack going. Muhammad lays it off for Walker. Greenville back in possession. Excuse me, that's Clouds there taking it in. Slides down and will draw the contact. Throw in for the Triumph. Here's Tyler Pollock, who was named as the player of the week here in USL League 1, and also up for player of the month for the month of July with his assists and, of course, his defensive play as well, paired with his offensive ability. He's been one of the maybe more underrated overall players here in League 1 to start the inaugural campaign.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was brought in by John Harks as the first signing in Greenville history for a reason. He's got a history with Harks. Harks is confident with him, and Tyler Pollock has showed exactly why. He's very, very good at the left back position.
Throw in for Tormenta from the far side of the field.
Actually, looks like Max Hemmings is going to set up at right back for the Greenville Triumph, where he played last week and got kicked in the face for the red card. Pre-game lineup looked like it was going to be Tom Boland back there, but looks like Hemmings is going to slot back to right full back for now.
Knocked back there by Coutinho, but cleared by Lee. Wouldn't be the first time we saw a smoke screen on the lineup graphic from John Harks. But was really forthright with it heading into the match against North Texas. That he was trying that out on the right flank. It worked last week, so why not try it again? Stepping up is Tormenta. Cadona over the top. Here's Antley on the run against Muhammad. He'll put the cross in. Enough height on it. Jay in a collision. He goes down. And Jackson called for the foul. Jay may have collided with that post as Hemmings checks in on his keeper.
hands up wasn't going to help Caleb Jackson. That was obvious before. It looks like Cal J's okay. Just going to take a minute to collect his thoughts on that one. See if he can remember where he is. Take another look at it. Just a bit of a clumsy challenge from Caleb Jackson. Making this third straight start.
Yeah, really a new face here to the lineup for Tormenta. He's made 5 appearances this season, now his 6th. And of course, his 3rd start overall, but John Milleracey liking his hold-up play and ability as they tried to tweak this lineup as they really hit no goal slide of late and then came out on fire at OCB 2 weeks ago. That ball goes out of play. Hemmings will have the throw-in. Both these teams having record-setting performances of late from the goal scoring. Of course, with North Texas SC, maybe an abnormal night for the home side in that match, but for Tormenta, keep in mind, it was Orlando City B who went through a coaching change even the next day after that match, and their team certainly keep an eye on, see if they make any other tactical changes. Down 1-0 right now on the road against Lansing Ignite this evening in the 10th minute.
Yeah, it's a game both teams would like to see an upset in, there's no doubt about that. Greenville have had some results go their way, like a lot of the teams above them have been tying games more than they were earlier in the season. That's allowed them to really kind of hang around there just outside the playoff positions. You say that, not looking at the standings, they're not just outside the playoff positions, but again, a win tonight and some help, and they'll find themselves in 4th.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier this week. If you're a fan of any team in USL League One, can you look at the standings and say, hey, I'm watching this game as a neutral party, which result do I want? It's so packed overall, you can't really look at it that way, at this point at least.
Yeah, no, that's anytime teams above you are tying, that's what you really want to see. You don't want to see any teams above you getting 3 points, because that means if you don't get the 3 points, you're losing ground. But yeah, it's maybe a little early. I think I was saying on Twitter
early,
the other day.
It's, what, week 19 at this point?
Right.
So.
I think I was saying on Twitter the other day, just wake me up at the beginning of September and we'll see where we are, because at the moment, the results are changing the standings so much.
Back over to Jay, will clear it down the field. We're seeing a little bit of room develop. Tormenta and Lansing at the top, but at the end of the day, Lansing still 4 matches played than most of the other teams in the league. That's been their main issue. They're going to get some weeks off in the weeks ahead. These other teams will have a chance to catch up to them. Tormenta, of course, even with Lansing at 30 points as they work out of the back here. Hara back down the other way as both teams just can't seem to get anything going early on in this match. Knocked through, Vignals. Hemmings plays it down the right flank. No one really on the run. It was Gomez taking a look at it here in the 12th. And out of play. Goal kick for the Chilean keeper, Pablo Hara.
It's been a bit of a sloppy start. These teams, almost at the moment, are so similar. Both have great defenses, both have great goalkeepers, both have struggled to score on and off at times this season. And both have small rotations for different reasons. I think Greenville, because there's just a smaller roster than Tormenta, but Tormenta have had a bunch of long-term injuries. They've got 5 guys out, actually 6 guys out at the moment with long-term injuries, including captain Lars Eckenrode, who we hope is doing well with his concussion.
Yeah, and unfortunately that came early in the season as Eckenrode went up for a collision on a ball looking to tie the game, and in the end it did go in, but unfortunately bumped into the back of the net. Unfortunately, we are dealing with some technical difficulties, so bear with us as we're 12 minutes into the match between Tormenta and Greenville. And good to have picture back here coming to you from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Chris McCovic alongside me, Ross Davenport. Thank you for joining us here for this Saturday night USL League One action. Ball sent in by Boland. Through the box, out of play. Was there a deflection? Play will pause for now as Vignals is down, and that is the last thing Tormenta wants to see. Marco Micheletto out. He's been playing a bit more of that holding midfield role of late. Vignals a few games ago got a red card, so he was out recently. He's down. Looks like holding maybe a muscle there. But you hate to see that in the 14th minute, not really involved in the action, and it went down. We're taking a look here, but a key part of that 2 line of defensive midfielders in this formation.
And we may well see an early debut of Kobe Perez, who was just signed from Tormenta 2 this week. If Vignals can't continue, looks to be in some discomfort. He's trying to explain what happened to the trainer in the collision. It seemed like he got a collision, but sort of seemed like he was explaining to the trainer. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, talking about Kobe Perez, he's not something you can call really an academy product, but for Tormenta, a team that established itself in USL League 2 over the last few years in their campaigns, and they still have that 2 squad in USL League 2 where John Milrisi said in a coaching call earlier this season that really he likes to use it as a tool to scout further players for this League 1 squad in the future, and one being Kobe Perez, who signed this week for the rest of the season to play with the League 1 side, has 3 goals, 3 assists, and 17 appearances this season, and also a Mercer player and another Mercer player on the squad, pretty successful in Connor Antley, so we'll see if we can see some chemistry come in the second half with that. Let's take another look at this as he came down and went immediately down as Boland sent that cross well away from everyone through the box.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely an advantage having a sort of developmental side, we'll say, that's playing at the same time as you. You can get to watch their games. A lot of those teams play on Friday nights, and with the NPSL and other lower leagues finishing up now, I'm sure some of these USL League 1 sides are taking a look at potential signings. Greenville FC, obviously, just around the corner here from Triumph. We'll see if they have anybody. Looks like Connor Antley getting a bit of attention too.
Well, this is interesting for the referee. Technically, a second player had treatment if he asked for the other one to come off. But we'll have to see who comes in. And Kobe Perez is in his full white kit and looks like he will be coming on for Vignals. And Vignals, you mentioned it, he's spent some time with Tormenta in USL League 2 as well. That's where the organization fell in love with him. Last 2 seasons making 20 appearances for that League 2 side. He'll come off for a new face from the League 2 side for Tormenta, as it will be Perez, it looks, getting set to come on here in the 16th minute.
You never like to see an early substitution being made like this, but I said earlier, I think in the pregame, that Greenville is starting to get the breaks here a little bit. Red card for them last week, and another early substitution here for a guy making his League 1 debut. I'll say his professional debut. He's all smiles, good to see.
We saw him getting ready on the side, and indeed that is the official substitution as Perez comes in, and that's sort of, luckily for Tormenta and their coaching staff, that's sort of the role he plays in for the League 2 side, as Vignals has to come out early. You hate to see that for the Spaniard, making his 17th start today, but now Tormenta trying to pounce the other way. Jackson through the lane and cleared by Seiler. Keep in mind with this 2 center back look for Greenville, it's usually Lee and Paulitz. Paulitz out with an injury, so Seiler, the typical right back, sliding into that center back role.
Yeah, you would assume they got a weekend. I think Kevin Paulitz hurt himself on Monday, Coach Hart said, so you would assume they would have got a good few days of practicing together. And I said they did play together earlier this season, so hopefully the communication, which is obviously where you expect to have problems when you make changes at the center back spot.
Long throw in by Hemmings. Perez, of course, winning the Southern Conference title with the Tormenta 2 side recently, falling late in extra time against Reading United AC in the national semifinals last weekend. But that has allowed the chance for him to come to USL League 1, show his stuff for the pro side in the organization. As Jay takes it in, looking to drive down the field. Walker will slide it on back as Greenville looks to find some room. Through here, Keegan cutting through Phelps, but he's called offsides very close there as Gomez chose not to touch the ball and let it go through.
Interesting one. It didn't look like everybody's complaining about the offside. The finish wasn't there. If I had a finish like that, I'd probably say, yeah, I was offside. Let's take another look at it.
A look here as it was a bit of a through ball, but it looks like he was just a step off.
Yeah, the ball kind of bounced up just at the last second there. Happens a little bit on this turf. It's decent turf, but again, even when you're playing on grass, that ball gets a little bounce occasionally, and that's what, as a result, you get the ball over the bar like that. It's a foul on Tyler Polak.
Jay heads over to take the ball as see some rain starting to come down on the Reedy River Riot here in Greenville. Obviously hate to see that, especially as Ross will remember the 3-hour rain delay against of Orlando City B a few weeks ago. Bad memories of that.
Yeah, it's just kind of sitting there just north of Greenville at the moment. Hopefully it fizzles out and we get to finish this one on time. These first 20 minutes have been pretty much what we expected from these two sides that know each other very well. A little cagey, no one willing to take too much risk at this time.
Here's Dennis stepping up, typically with the offensive line out there today at the left back spot. Sliding it back over, Muhammad almost picking it off. Coutinho the spin, chips it into the box, headed back over by Seiler as it's cleared by Greenville. Up ahead is Keegan. This hit by Perez. As it's back all the way through, and Haro will let that go out of play, and Gomez putting his hand up saying, my bad there, the experienced player making his 17th start of the season. As we see a rainbow developing a bit in the distance, and thunderstorms here in the southeast United States. Something accustomed to here in August, certainly. As Seiler hits this up over to Lee, and right now, Chattanooga also hosting a match, so hopefully no showers affecting them, as Gomez chips it on over to Bolin towards the top of the box, cuts it back over, goes down against Knutson, but no call, says Wilmer Soriano, our head official in tonight's match, as Hara picks it up.
It was a nice little attempted flick by Tom Bolin, but he was always looking to go down, I think. Good defensive positioning.
Right now, Lansing Ignite taking it to OCB at home as it's 21st minute, 2-0 Lansing. As the Ignite have a few more matches played than Tormenta, but certainly a win today, they would be in sole possession of second here in League One. Hara driving it down the field. Knocked off Lee, out of play, throw in coming for Tormenta as they seem to be building ahead a bit here. The Antley will come over and take it, also a player up for July Player of the Month here in League One.
Yeah, you have to think Tormenta with Antley and Dennis are going to get pushing super far forward tonight. Greenville, not known as a counter-attacking team most of the time. They had a nice goal in the loss to FC Tucson by Carlos Gomez.
Here is Gomez on the ball down the left flank. Taken back by Phelps. Still fighting, but Phelps able to clear it out of play down the far side flank. Polak coming over to take the throw in.
Yeah, as Connor Antley shows there, none of these Tormenta defenders are easy to get around. Physically dominate you. It's a handball on Max Hemmings.
They tried to chest the ball down, but pretty clearly off the shoulder, as it will be a free kick here for Tormenta. Dennis over the ball, as you can see in here, rain coming down here in Greenville. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Perez getting some of his first touches on the ball, but stopped by Klaus. It's back over to Polak. Klaus. Seiler. Unable to build forward. We've seen Greenville able to get the ball a few times towards the box, but not able to build into there really. Both these teams are second half teams, keep that in mind, with Greenville only seeing 3 first half goals and Tormenta just 4 this season.
Yeah, Tormenta kind of playing a half court press here, letting Greenville come into there and then snuffing everything out once they do.
Snuffing that one out as well, as Perez tried to pass that off, but goes out of play back to Greenville.
It's definitely a bit of a chess match right now. About as entertaining for the fans as this rain. As you can see, it comes down here in front of the floodlights at Legacy early.
As long as there's no lightning, we're fine with it. Making the Pace a bit quicker maybe out there.
You know, it won't be fun with those, these goalkeepers. This turf can get very slick with this rain, and skidding balls off that are no fun for the guys with the gloves.
Late tackle by Clowes, and it will be a free kick here taken by Dennis. Knocked down, Jackson stepping up towards the box, but sliced away by Evan Lee. Muhammad running in on it. He got a good few looks early on in this match, but hasn't seen much of the ball since then. Walker scoring 2 goals recently, including one last week against North Texas. He'll win the foul there and pass it on through the back. There's 2 shots between these 2 clubs early on, both by Greenville. Foul won by Clowes. Tormenta an early edge in possession, 58% to 42%. Lee down the left flank. Here's Polak. Walker trying to keep it alive, brought down and cleared back towards midfield. Jackson trying to work a spin move on Lee, fighting well in there and knocking it down the left flank. Lee feeling the end of that one. Morrell takes it. Scored a goal in the opener against Greenville this season. Through the traffic, lays it off back to Jackson. Deflected to Coutinho. Morrell, right side box, cross inside, headed on and away by Hemmings. It's a corner kick coming for Tormenta.
Yeah, nice work there by Tormenta in the final third, keeping possession. Alex Morrell's a dangerous threat inside that 18-yard box. You can't give him 2 yards of space.
Good no-look pass there by Coutinho. Coutinho heading over to take this one. The Brazilian coming in with 2 assists so far this season, and now his 12th start here today.
And one of the 4 members of the Palm Beach Atlantic University, former Palm Beach Atlantic University players. Only 2 of them on the field tonight, though. O'Sullivan's hurt. St. Ville not in the starting lineup tonight. The other 2 being Coutinho and Charlie Dennis. And 3 of them played on the 2016 team for the Sailfish. Interesting deal they've got there with the PBA players. Taking their time here with this one, Coutinho.
Ball sent in, headed away there on the post. Spun back, Knutson. Looks like he got the deflection. Indeed, he did. Another corner kick for Tormenta. They'll take their time moving up for this one. And Coutinho also a League 2 background, but with Southern West Virginia Kings Warriors, where John Milracy was before joining the Tormenta organization. So pause as some action in the box ahead of this kick. Wilmer Soriano looks to break it up. He'll back away here. Ball sent in. Foul called before the ball came in. That'll get a cheer from the Reedy River Riot. It's a free kick for the Triumph.
Yeah, that's just silly. We know the referee's focusing on that 6-yard box. You're not going to get away with anything. Clearly, the Tormenta player didn't there. We'll take the free kick. Dallas check. 8 yards out here.
Walker stepping back to be a part of this back line as they try to work it out of there. Jay to Lee, playing with a bit of fire here, as he'll have to heave this down the far side flank, headed on by Phelps. Could be Perez heading it on over to Ricardo Gomez. Off of Walker, out of play. And a throw in for the Triumph, quickly taken, and they'll work it out of the back. This is how John Harkes likes to decide the play. Been a team that was forced to play a lot of transition, crossing balls in the beginning of the season, but more and more possession-based play as we've seen the season go on. This will be headed on back to Hara. Still nothing blooming really for either side.
Yeah, the possession thing has come with the confidence, playing together. Obviously, it's a new team. It's going to take a little less poor there from Hara.
Bowen lays it off to Clowes. Here is Walker playing it on to Polak. Advantage played, through ball up ahead to Muhammad. Left side of the box, put in there, Keegan on frame. And Keegan in! His 8th of the season, tied 2nd for the Golden Boot now. It's 1-0 to the Triumph as they continue their scoring run here in the last 2 weeks.
An awful giveaway by Pablo Haro, similar to the opening goal against Tucson, which was given away by a defender, but Greenville, you can't give him that kind of opportunity in the final third. And Jake Keegan will slot him away as he's shown all season.
Jake Keegan, his 3rd in the last 2 matches. And he puts the Triumph up 1-0 on their home soil. As we'll take another look here. And Muhammad, good service in there, and Keegan, a beautiful finish as that trickled on by Hara. And Boland was at the near post to help out if needed.
That's what Jake Keegan's known for. He's a sniper. He'll find the space in that 6-shot box and he'll finish him if he's given the opportunity. And we talked about how important that first goal will be for Greenville.
So important for teams to get off to a good start against Tormenta this season. Tormenta, when scoring first, they're perfect this season at 6-0. Greenville, though, pretty good as well when they score first. 5-1-1. Tormenta has 2 come from behind wins, 2 come from behind draws as well this season, looking for that equalizer already, but it's cleared away by Lee.
Yeah, we talked to John Harks last week after the Tucson game, where they scored early, actually a little bit earlier than this one. And what John Harks said was they just sort of maybe perhaps didn't know how to play when their lead. They've scored so few early goals this season. You know, John Harks will be screaming at them from the sideline there to keep their heads in this one, because they gave away a quick goal after that one against Tucson, when John went down that left side, cut back in and fired it home. So you see Harks now telling his team to continue playing like they have been here, taking advantage of mistakes.
It's the 4th first half goal this season for Greenville, but their 2nd in their last 2 matches here at home. Well, this is what we were interested to see from Greenville. Can they keep up that scoring threat that we saw on the transition against North Texas? Certainly they did there. They looked pretty good with Muhammad getting the assist on that strike. As Dennis clears the other way, he did get the foul called in his favor. It's back to Tormenta.
Early in the season, Greenville didn't have that killer instinct when teams would make mistakes in the final third, but these last few games, they really showed it. Again, that Carlos Gomez goal a couple weeks ago was one of those ones that's just taking advantage of mistakes, going the other way and turning it into a goal.
Fans follow Greenville Triumph and the rest of USL League One all season long on ESPN+. Home to the USL, MLS, UFC, US Open Cup, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch League One live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Looking around the league right now, Lansing again up 2-0 at home. And they've been so strong lately at home at Cooley Law School Stadium. We have one other, including this one, of course, going on here in USL League One, as it is Chattanooga and North Texas did even 0-0 in the 31st. Coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern time will be Madison and Tucson going at it. Madison winning the last matchup against Tucson at Bruce Stevens Field. But one certainly Madison will be looking to continue the confidence and the momentum from their win on Wednesday.
And all these fans in the league as well, I'm sure, want to see all these meaningful games going into August and September, and that's what we've got so far in this league. I think really only OCB are really the only team that seem to be out of it. Even Richmond have had a couple of nice results lately and got themselves back into semi-contention.
Yeah, certainly, and you look at Richmond, we thought it was Richmond and OCB at the bottom, and suddenly Richmond gets 2 wins, and that's sort of how this league has worked. As soon as we think there's some separation, it comes right back to compact.
I was a fan of how Richmond played earlier this season. They seemed to lost their way offensively a little bit before these 2 recent victories. See if they can continue to climb up the standings and force their way into the mix as well, just so we need more teams in this mix.
Yeah. They're a team that came here on the road to Legacy Early College, got that 1-0 win, and was able to hold on against Greenville with that Joe Gallardo goal straight through the middle and into the box.
Plenty of talent, Richmond, similar to the Greenville team. Plenty of talent, just didn't seem to get it together early. Had a little run and then now dropped off a bit. But starting to get things going again there, Coach Bulow.
Back all the way to Dallas J, the Danville, California native. Seiler down the right flank. Dennis trying to trap it, collided with Hemmings as Hara went to pick up the ball. Now Dennis has to deal with this one. He'll keep it in play. That is a dangerous one towards the top of the box, but luckily for him, his teammate Gomez is there trying to deal with it over to Phelps.
As you saw that, that was Charlie Dennis looking like a midfielder trying to communicate with his goalkeeper. Almost absolute disaster, but got away with it in the end.
Moshe Bani having quite the day so far for Lansing, a goal and an assist on those tallies. Hemmings places on back through the Triumph back line.
Yeah, it's a shame we won't get to see Lansing and Greenville play anymore this. Greenville play anymore this season. They played their 3 games super early. So Moshe Bani really coming on now. It's a nice ball there.
Keegan flicks it up, but straight into the air, and Hart will take that every time, and maybe looking for that chip over the top we saw him do against, I believe, Richmond this season.
That was a great finish against Richmond, that through ball.
Over the top, Jackson on the run, but Jay off his line, he'll pick it up. Lee plays it on wide. And Seiler taking it in. Just joining us, Seiler at the center back spot with Kevin Paulitz out today. First time Paulitz has missed action this season, as he has started all matches to this point.
Cole Seiler, remember in that U.S. Open Cup contest, the winner created the legacy leap. We haven't seen it again yet. Maybe second half today we will. Going that way towards Rudy River right in the second 45.
Morel. Perez. Gudono. Stepping up, laying it back off to Perez, trying to work it wide for a cross. Dennis, currently sitting first in League One in created chances, as it'll be Hemmings that's brought down from behind. And feeling the end of that one as a free kick will come.
Yeah, those kind of situations, even when Greenville have had time to sit back and get discipline in their shape, they're very difficult to break down. You see Tormenta try and knock it around and find space, but had a little frustration with Perez there and the foul on Max Hemmings. Hopefully his face is all right. I haven't got a chance to look at that side of him yet after that collision last weekend.
Yeah, that was a tough one, and certainly based on the treatment he was getting and what everyone saw from sitting at home, Cirillo did get him pretty good on the face there, and it was a good spot by the head official to give that red card.
Yeah, head injuries are nothing to mess with. We talked about Lars Eckenrode earlier in the game and how much time he's missed with that concussion he sustained back in mid-April. It's a nasty form. It's purely accidental. He was going for the ball and ended up scoring after it bounced off the keeper and off him. But yeah, you always worry when these head collisions happen. We talked about earlier in the season, USL hoping to bring in a rule regarding head injuries and being able to have a temporary substitution. Hopefully we'll hear some more about that perhaps going into next season.
And Leon back to his keeper, Hara, former Wingate University player. Gomez stepping up. Spent time with the Myrtle Beach Mutiny in USL League 2.
Tormenta looking a little lost here. So missing a bit of leadership. Your coach is in the stands. You're missing Marco Micheletto, and now you've got Vignals off. And
that's a great point. That Micheletto and Vignals are two of those players when they're on the field that they connect the offense and the defense in that midfield area that teams can get lost in sometimes. Do I want to take it through the wings or through the middle? And certainly maybe Tormenta facing that right now in the 39th.
Yeah, Tormenta not known for taking it down the wings. I think they've attempted only a few successful crosses this year. Greenville are the opposite. They love to get down the wings. And with Dennis at left back, that takes away another wing option. Micheletto obviously saw when he set up the goal for Morel in that first meeting. Different Tormenta side right now.
Gomez, right back from Cadona. And he'll send this down the left flank. Headed up and away. Gomez after it. It will be taken in by Hemmings, who's stepping up the field.
I mean, you've got a team like Tormenta that has had so few lineup changes this season, when you are forced to make lineup changes, it can really change everything and get you off kilter a little bit. We've seen it happen, not so much with Greenville because they've been pretty lucky with the injuries so far this year, but obviously losing Kevin Politz tonight, we saw in some earlier games when they had a couple of injuries here and there, but nothing like the woes that Tormenta have been going through.
Lee gets it deflected by Gomez. And it's back through for Tormenta as they approach these final 5 minutes of this first half, trying to equalize. If you're just joining us, Jake Keegan off a brief pass from Muhammad into the box, getting the opening tally. Offsides is the call. Evan Lee takes a seat though, and it's going to be a free kick for Greenville.
You mentioned Shinya Kadono just now. I think it might be the first time we've mentioned his name almost all half. He's been a little bit invisible in that 10 spot behind Caleb Jackson. I was surprised Kadono didn't start on his own up top, and we might see some changes at some point from Coach Migliaresi from the stands or wherever he's sitting tonight via Coach Gonzalez. We'll see how that goes.
There's that rainbow as skies are beginning to clear here in Greenville. So great news in that regard for the Reed River Ride and those in attendance. Greenville up 1-0. Still some pop-out showers around the region as Chattanooga feeling that a bit as well. But Evan Lee's still down, and not something Coach Harks wants to see, as that's a worst-case scenario for this back line currently with Paulitz out with an injury.
Yeah, I couldn't even think who would move into the center back spot. We got Ryong on the bench. Perhaps maybe I would have slotted there. Hopefully everything's all right with Evan Lee. Tension on his calf, perhaps in the calf ankle area. Usually up now.
That's unfortunately one issue for the Triumph this season is depth. For Tormenta, they've had depth issues just because of the amount of injuries overall so far this season. But the Triumph, luckily for them, they haven't dealt with too many injuries to key players here in 2019.
Yeah, they managed to stay relatively healthy. I thought perhaps we would have seen a signing. Emily might be changing cleats here. I thought we might have seen a signing by this point. There was rumors of it in the last couple of weeks, but nothing's come to fruition. Rumors of some Greenville FC players perhaps training with the team. Nothing's come from that. We'll see how that goes over the next couple of weeks, especially if Hollis is out for a lengthy time. It doesn't appear that he will be. We'll have to see. Throwing around like a rag doll. Poor Jake Keegan, he got up though.
That's how strong this back line for Tormenta is, and part of why they've been strong on set pieces this season. As Gomez takes it in. But luckily, it looks like Evan Lee, at least from our vantage point, just making a change of footwear with these conditions as Dennis takes it in. But Dennis, that's one issue with the move from John Migliaresi here into this match in the starting 11, is that you put Dennis at that left back spot. He leads your team in created chances, so maybe slowing things down a bit on the offensive end. He is getting up as the left back, but certainly Tormenta, a team that likes to get their fullbacks forward, but they do it strategically. Either Antley up the right side or someone else up the left, and then they fill with the three other defenders in the back. But you can't do that when you have a forward on one end and then maybe the most dynamic player in League One on the other side.
It's definitely a curious decision. Jerry St. Ville had been playing pretty well at left back, and I knew it was obviously going to be a tight game and goals are going to be their premium, which is why I'm not sure. I'm questioning the decision to put Charlie Dennis back there. Makes that back line look like an NFL defensive line, though.
Well, so that's the other point, though, is you want big, you want tough, you want physical, and Charlie Dennis is probably your man at that left back spot.
It'll be interesting to see if John Harks continues to keep Omar Mohammed on that left side, or perhaps gives him a run at Charlie Dennis.
Phelps on back to Hara. And we've talked about it all season, but with some of these lineups where it's Muhammad and Bermudez on either side, Harks likes to switch them up to confuse the defense. But that's one thing you can't exactly do with this Hemmings-Bowling combo on the right side, is that it has to stay put in some regard, and that's what we saw against North Texas. It worked out, but then Muhammad's always trapped on the left side, so if an opponent says, hey, we're not covering him well enough, they can put their best defender on that side.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don Boland isn't quite as two-footed or as quick-footed as Chris Bermudez is. I haven't seen as much with Bermudez lately as we had back in June, say, and I think we might see him tonight at some point, perhaps give this game a bit of energy, which is definitely lacking at the moment.
Jackson coming all the way back to knock it on. 1 minute until stoppage time here in Greenville. As Gomez plays it over the top. Antley after it, but cleared by Muhammad. Whistle is blown.
It's just crazy that I see a right back making a run into the box like Connor Antley. It's normally a ball you see for a striker, and that pops up your right back. Just proves what faith John Milleresi has in Connor Antley, and rightly so. He's been great this season.
Well, for anybody that was with us in the pregame and saw those highlights from the OCB match, that's exactly what he does. And Tormenta has done so well managing that, launching him up the side, filling in the back with Gomez or the left back staying back and covering. But as the season's going on, it seems like some of these teams are finding a pocket when they're able to transition quickly. But Antley's been so good at getting back, just like a Tyler Pollock, that you haven't seen that too much be exploit this season.
Yeah, no, he's a phenomenon. Here we go now. Space for Bolin.
Bolin down the right side working against Perez. Cross in, stays low, knocked to the top of the box. The strike from the top, slides to the left post. Gomez back with it. They'll clear this for Tormenta. But again, a shot from outside the box, almost slicing in for Greenville.
Aaron Walker looking for his third goal from outside the box in as many weeks.
4 minutes of stoppage time for the
Skidding along that turf, and it almost looked like it was going to sneak in there, but the post came to the rescue.
The horror there was scrambling, trying to get to that post, but luckily for him, got some help on the woodwork.
I seem to remember Tormenta getting some help from the woodwork in their last game. Christopher.
4 minutes of stoppage time, by the way, meanwhile, as we take a look at this.
Try to pass it inside that post. Hard was beaten. Post wasn't though.
I remember a few weeks ago, John Hark said, hey, we need to shoot more from outside the box. They weren't seeing any goals from that area, I should say he was also concerned with his team that he said, hey, we're thinking too much trying to how to get this in the box, just take some chances from the outside. And since then, Walker has 2 goals from doing exactly that.
It's almost like basketball where you got to respect the three-point shot. Defenders, if they know you're not going to shoot from the outside, they'll just give you that space there. They won't give you the space inside the 12 or so, but give you that space on the outside. Teams are finally realizing now that Greenville can shoot from outside. It's going to be an interesting weapon to see here in the last third of the season. That's a handball.
Goes to Greenville. And it's a good point. If you are a threat as a team from outside the box, defenders have to step up, and then it maybe opens things for the wings to send the ball in on service.
No, exactly right. Instead, they just play off you and they sort of invite you to shoot. Especially with the quality of goalkeepers in this league, there aren't many that are going to get beat by this distance unless it's a quality shot. Greenville's had those in the last couple of weeks.
Tyler Pollock over the ball, had 2 assists in the victory over North Texas last week. Can he find another here? Ball sent in, but grabbed out of the air by Pablo Hara. Shadowed by Keegan. But about 2 minutes remaining here in stoppage time in the first half. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the upcoming schedules for both of these clubs. Behind the scenes look at the Richmond Kickers, as well as take a look around the league and news and notes, and of course the scores from around the league as Lansing Ignite is playing strong football this evening, 2-0 up on OCB.
Tormenta with 0 shots in his first half. John Harks would love to see that. Again, the scoring woes. A little bit late, nice tackle.
Oh, it was a tackle by Clouds, looked to be clean, and that's at least the argument for the Greenville fans in attendance at John Harks. But it was from behind. You can see the argument from Wilmer Soriano.
You see Captain Tyler Pollock making his case. I thought it was a good tackle. Let's take another look at it. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Morrell stayed on his feet there. Nonetheless, Tormenta, we talked about Greenville taking care of their opportunity against North Texas with that red card. Now Tormenta a chance here at the death of the first half, maybe to equalize here on the road.
If something happens here from this free kick, John Harks is going to absolutely lose his mind. He was a little upset at the officials earlier on this season. He's been calm for the last couple of months, but that's a curious decision by Wilmer Soriano there. Luckily for Greenville, it's in a slightly central location, which sometimes makes things a little more difficult to get the ball on target, to get the curl you need, but we'll see how Charlie Dennis might step up and strike this one. Dallas J is going to have to be on his toes.
Coutinho and Dennis over the ball, both with 2 tallies this season. 5-man wall for Greenville. Dennis straight off Clouds. So the man that commits the foul takes it squarely off the head, and he goes down to his knees. As I'm sure anyone would in that case. It is a head injury, and Greenville players pointing to it. Play does stop. As Klaus putting his body on the line to stop that one. And
get right on the chin, he said. Justice is done, I think. That was a very debatable free kick. Charlie Dennis's strike wasn't particularly good.
Well, credit to Dallas J for making that wall wide enough. As that a pretty clear foul as Bolin with the arm extended takes down Dennis. Stoppage time dwindling here for Tormenta. Maybe last chance to get this into the box before we had half. This time it's Gomez and Dennis over the ball. Dennis is going to take control here. Gets it in there. Jay diving off his line, but luckily for Greenville, out of play, and that will do it for the first 45. As Keegan's tally proves to be the difference, and Greenville bunkering in at the end of this first 45 to seal a lead at the half. It's 1-0 Greenville, as it seems like they've been more and more comfortable as this first 45 has gone on.
Yeah, not the prettiest first half, and the weather has matched it, but goal for Greenville, as we saw there, they like to play with the lead. Done so well with it this season. See if they can hold on here in the second half.
With that, we'll toss it over to break now as we get set for halftime coverage. Greenville up 1-0 here at Legacy Early College. Welcome back here into Greenville, South Carolina. 1-0 to the home side as we hit the break. Now let's take a look at the roads ahead for both of these clubs as they've been able to peak a bit in the last few matches. For Tormenta, a few dates with Chattanooga, that August 21st matchup, a rescheduling of a postponed match from a few weeks ago, and of course a second edition of a great battle that it should be between Tormenta and North Texas coming on the 27th.
Yeah, a lot of home games coming up for Tormenta. They're not easy ones, though, and then that tough trip to North Texas. A point here, I think, would be good for them, especially all these home games. Chattanooga looking for wins lately. They haven't come a lot of ties for them. Tucson, obviously, I think it's towards the end of their long road trip.
They're able to get a win over Tucson earlier this season in Tucson and also in Statesboro, so we'll see if they're able to get the 3 points again coming up on the 17th. For Greenville on the other side, one team they haven't seen all season is Toronto. They'll see them twice on the road coming up as well. They'll also face Toronto at home, down away from what's on your screen right now, but also a few dates still in tow against Forward Madison.
Yeah, when you looked at these matches a few weeks ago, Toronto were looking formidable at home, but looked very beatable lately. Been a lot of roster changes there, in and outs, and just haven't been playing consistently. And obviously, a lot of road matches for Greenville, but matches they can win. At Richmond, they look for some revenge in that one, and then 2 matches against Forward Medicine, which is always fun.
Yeah, it should be a fun one again at Breese Stevens Field coming up on the 28th. Coming up, we'll take a unique look behind the scenes at the Richmond Kickers, one of the clubs here in USL League One, as we continue halftime here from Greenville, 1-0 to the Triumph.
From distance on the way and in! Goal, Las Vegas Lights! And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding? It will go for goal! Oh my goodness!
Gents, hey, keep moving forward here. I feel like we're close, but it's all about the process. Make sure you're doing the little things right.
It's part of the community. I think it's not a mistake that you drive anywhere in the city and you'll see the Red Kickers K. I was certainly honored to play for the club and understand it's just a part of the city.
We're the longest continuously run professional soccer team in the country, which is pretty cool. We have Charleston Battery beat by 1 day. We played on a Friday night in '93. They played on a Saturday. We take great pride in that.
There's a really good structure in place, and there has been a really good structure in place for a long time now, even from when I was back here as a youth player. The coaching staff, the culture, the way things are done at the Kickers is at the highest level. Everyone's committed, everyone's 100% in.
We have a really strong locker room and everybody really wants to do well for the club, and they believe in me and believe in the club and respect the history that we have as a club. So it's been a lot of fun so far, just kind of getting this group together.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes or no? Next morning.
Welcome back here into halftime in Greenville, South Carolina. 1-0 triumph here on ESPN Plus as we take a look at news and notes from around USL League One. Of course, our player of the week for League One last week was Tyler Pollock in front of us today, but also USL announcing their rebrandings for the playoffs coming up down the line, as we did have league meetings coming this week for the separate leagues here in the USL, and certainly some fun things over the horizons, including some new teams down the line coming next year.
Yeah, I hope to hear a little more of these meetings as the news kind of leaks out over the next few weeks. And yeah, Tyler Pollock very well deserved their player of the week.
Yeah, good showing by Pollock, and credit to the league in giving it to a defender here. Easily could have maybe given it to someone like Jay Keegan, a goal scorer, but Tyler Pollock has been deserving all season of an accolade like that. Looking at the scores from around League One currently, and earlier this week, we mentioned this, Madison and Lansing getting the wins on Wednesday. Currently in a delay is Chattanooga and North Texas battling at David Stanton Field in Chattanooga. Lansing, we've been mentioning this, taking it to OCB 2-0 at the half, and then FC Tucson Madison just getting going here on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, Tucson Forward Madison should be a fun one. Tucson played very well on this road trip and moved their way up the standings. With the amount of home games they have coming up towards the end of the season, they're going to be a threat for that 3rd or 4th spot for sure.
Yeah, with Jordan Jones showing lately, he's been loaned over to Phoenix Rising, so getting some love there, as Devin Jomga has as well, with the Player of the Week nod lately. Here are the standings again in USL League One. Again, these are entering today. The contest today not being put into these standings. As we mentioned, Fort Madison with the win Wednesday, moving up into 4th place in the standings. And with the way things are going for Greenville right now, they could get sole possession of that fourth spot if Fort Mass is unable to get a point at home today.
Yeah, this is as fun as it gets. I know we coming into the season when we have a league with only 10 teams, we thought this might be a potential for rugged race down here. It's almost like a PGA Tour leaderboard going into Sunday with so many teams with a chance to pull out the victory.
There should be a fun one down the line. Of course, Tormenta, if they're able to come back, get a bit closer to North Texas if they're unable to get a result against Chattanooga. Coming up after our next break, we'll have first half highlights and stats here from Legacy Early College. Again, 1-0 triumph here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Greenville, South Carolina. Triumph up 1-0 with the 8th goal of the season by Jake Keegan in that first half. With that, let's take a look at our first half highlights here from in front of us at Legacy Early College. And for Greenville and Tormenta, pretty deadlocked early on, not able to see many chances, but Greenville able to get a few looks going their way. Tormenta just could not get it in their opposing box.
Yeah, Don Boland's showing he's got a left foot there. We talked about perhaps him not being as two-footed as some others, but decent strike, deflected off for a corner. Speculative chance there from Jake Keegan, looking to lob power, but didn't quite get full contact on it.
Tormenta building ahead as they move forward in the match. Morel, good look here, but Hemmings there at that right back spot, defending the ball.
He really just didn't create enough quality possession inside the box at all. Tormenta will have to make some changes, you think, in the second half to get things going.
There's one shot overall for Tormenta. Here's the goal by Jake Keegan and Greenville as Keegan sliding that through a few bodies and into the back of the net.
A nice ball by Amar Mohammed, but if you watch it again, I don't know if we'll get another look at it. Watch the run Jake Keegan makes to create space behind the two defenders, and a perfect ball in from Mohammed and the cross his body finish. It was the run by Keegan that opened himself up for that goal.
A good start there by Greenville, their fourth first half goal of the season, as Jake Keegan maybe a little bit wishful here, looking for another one, but Hara taking that in from a center field point of view and settles it in and keeps that one goal on the board.
Nice strike there by Aaron Walker off the post. Feeling it from outside the box, he is. Ooh, man, what a chance that was.
Maybe the other chance that Greenville should have had in that first half. As you can see, really Greenville getting all the chances here. A few of those shots not really on target at all there for Greenville, but still getting the better of the chances so far in this match, and Tormenta getting that one shot towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes Tormenta to make some changes. They just don't look like their normal self so far tonight. Again, down Micheletto, down Miuraci on the bench, and we'll have to see again. 45 minutes to sort it out.
Yeah, and we thought it was interesting initially when we got the starting 11s. Charlie Dennis at left back, Cadono at center attacking mid, and then Caleb Jackson still at the top. We expected Cadono maybe at the top due to his success off the bench against Lansing last week, but you have to say at this point in the game that they need to get Charlie Dennis more involved. He is the leader and created chance not only for his team entering today, but also the league.
Yeah, he had that one run into the box, I think, and then the free kick chance. And just, I mean, obviously you've got a midfielder, attacking midfielder playing left back. He's going to look a little out of position. One slight communication error with Hara earlier on, but still in there right now, left back.
Yeah, we'll see how focused the Tormenta coaching staff is on the attacking point of view in the second half, as they do have some options at the fullback spots if they do want to move Charlie Dennis up the field. Jad Arslan has played fullback numerous times this season, as well as St. Ville, who has seen many starts at that left back spot, as he may be an option coming up in the second half. Our referee, Wilmer Soriano, standing with the whistle, waiting to get us going here in the second half. As Greenville looking for win number 5 at home this season.
Just taking a quick look at the stats. 12 fouls conceded by South Georgia. You see they're coming out to show their physicality, but Greenville hasn't shied away from it themselves.
Again, I'm Chris Kovac alongside me, Ross Davenport, bringing the action here from Greenville, South Carolina. 1-0 to the triumph here on the Keegan goal in the first half. Antley down the right flank, cross in. Dangerous ball headed away by Lee. Here's Perez, who came on for the injured Vignals in that first half. He'll knock the ball over, as Dennis will slide on back to Gomez. Vignals, if you weren't with us, another key player for Tormenta, unfortunately going down with an injury. And the Tormenta 2 product from this season, Perez coming in to alleviate the need. This ball will go out of play, and Walker and Greenville have a goal kick.
Yeah, no nonsense tackle there by Tyler Polak. Exactly what he's known for. Not a flashy player, but he does everything very, very well. Get forward, makes great tackles. Experienced head on this Greenville side.
Again, Greenville a win today. They will move into sole possession of 4th place if they have everything on the table stand pat after tonight. While Tormenta certainly still chasing North Texas, while Lansing giving them a bit of pressure for that second spot, as Lansing's up 2-0 at the half. Tormenta just 4 points behind North Texas after last week's results. Keegan wanted a foul there on the contact, didn't get it. Back down the other way as Knutson will let that float on to Pablo Hara.
Yeah, this thing stand up. Be tied on points and on goal difference with Forward Madison, so we go to goal scored, which obviously Greenville sits quite a bit behind Forward Madison, but one more goal here and Greenville would certainly jump up into 4th on their own.
Walker cuts it away from Coutinho, who goes down. Polak over to Muhammad. Walker takes it in, and Coutinho in a bit of discomfort as he tried to stay with the play.
I think he might have taken a stray elbow or hand off the face. Purely accidental. In a wrestling match.
And a free kick coming for Greenville, or is it? Yes, a throw in. Nothing coming of that pushing and pulling at the end of the play.
The problem is, when you're as big as this Tormenta backline, any amount of contact is going to make it look a lot worse because of the size difference. And Referee Wilmer Soriano's done well so far, allowing them to jostle around a little bit.
Gomez breaking free for a bit of room here, open for the cross, decided not to take it. Clouds opening up here on the right side of the box, cuts inside, swept away though by Tormenta, and it's back towards midfield. Seiler stepping up.
A good start to the second half here by Greenville. We saw it against Tucson. They didn't come out very well in the second half, and as a result lost that game, but coming out with some good energy here.
Keegan lays off the ball, and here's Polak. Keegan after the through ball, Muhammad the back heel, but keeps it in play for Tormenta. As it's cleared down the field.
Yeah, nice idea by Omar Mohammed, but it's always going to be tough on the slick turf to get good contact on the back heel like that. If we pulled it off, though, it would have been goal of the week.
Lee back on to Jay. And I mentioned there in the run of play, Seiler stepping up with the offense. And that's one thing I do want anyone watching at home to take of note. Just keep an eye on this back line of Greenville. They're so compact, so good together. But when someone decides to maybe be a bit more aggressive, it can lead to problems on the transition attack. Luckily, Evan Lee was there, but that was one issue with John Good Jones and FC Tucson in the last home match.
Yeah, I mean, with a 1-0 lead, you're going to be careful not to push up too much. Back fours look pretty solid so far without Politz. It's credit to John Harks and his coaching. I'm sure he's moving them around quite a bit in anticipation of having to do something like this, especially with the lack of roster depth.
Jay launches this down towards midfield. Phelps on it. He'll head it ahead of him, but taken back by Greenville. Tormenta's back line passing it around a bit. Tormenta, 22 goals this season, 6th in the league at 1.3 goals per game.
They've only scored multiple goals twice in their last 10 games, though, and both of those were against OCB. They did that 4 times in the first 7 games, so I think as you and I talked a couple of weeks ago, Chris, this team seemed to have figured out this Tormenta team a little bit. It comes down to coaching and having to try. We thought teams had figured out Greenville, though, and they seem to have come around, so still plenty of time for Tormenta. Obviously, their record, they deserve to be there in the top 2.
Yeah, in the recent slide ahead of the last 2 weeks, I asked a coach in League One about that, having played them recently. He said, what do you think is maybe an issue for them? And he said that really they've just taken a step back and come back to earth more, and that many around the league believe they were just hitting everything. Shot efficiency was off the charts for Tormenta to start the season as they try to get back in that groove here. Back into the box. Morel looking ahead. He'll pick up his head over for the brief cross to Coutinho, who will not get out of play, and he says, my bad, with the hand raised.
It was almost a poor mistake by Evan Lee there, getting caught in possession in the final third. He got away with it.
Get to know your club. Stay up to date with all the latest Triumph news and content. Purchase tickets, merchandise, and more with the new Greenville Triumph app. Search Triumph SC in the Android or Apple App Store and download today.
And John Harks will also be aware that Tormenta are very much a second half team. 18 of those 22 goals you mentioned, Chris, coming in the second half.
Including their goal on Saturday against Lansing, I should say last Saturday. It was Cadona breaking free after a pass from Morel and able to slide one home.
I'm really glad that goal won goal of the week. If you watch the replay of it, which I did a few times, it was an amazing first touch and just it was the 2-touch goal on an awesome through ball. He was sandwiched by 2 guys and managed to sneak it inside that far post. It was very worthy, although Aaron Walker also had a worthy strike, I thought.
Ball ahead, Cadona running up. Lee is there. Chip it off of Cadona, who goes down, draws the foul. Free kick for Tormenta.
Yeah, not the finest 2 minutes here by Evan Lee, and here come Tormenta now quickly.
Quickly taken over the end line. And a goal kick as Dallas J communicating with his defender, saying, what's up, guys? As take a look at this one.
Yeah, quickly taken free kick. Not from quite the same spot that, remember, Greenville earlier this season scored on a quickly taken free kick. It came to nothing in the end, though. Greenville getting a little sloppy here in the last couple of minutes defensively. They have to sort it out back there against the team with the capability of putting the ball in the back of the net like Tormenta. I think he was giving a word Dallas J about time wasting. I mean, a little early for that.
Jay driving this. Had some rain earlier this match. It cleared up towards the end of the first half. Gomez. Here's Antley near side. Antley and Polak, the two number 3s on the field, up for player
Great
of the month.
anticipation by Polak.
As you can see there, his defensive ability coming through. The foul is won at midfield as Polak takes a tumble against Perez.
Tried the old spin move. If he'd have pulled that off the bench, would have gone absolutely nuts. Great interception by Tyler Polak. Highest football IQ. We talked about John Hark's brought when he brought in the players to start this team. He wanted guys with high IQ, and Tyler Polak's one of those guys. Great character as well.
Walker, Muhammad, left flank, moves it, shot, but that will send itself deep into the Reedy River Riot. A good look, and that's what Muhammad does so well on the 1v1.
Yeah, beautiful move there by Omar Mohamed. The shot was a bit speculative, but ball bounced up on him. We haven't seen him strike too many on target from outside this season, but a beautiful move by Omar Mohamed. We saw how those quick feet can turn Tormenta players inside out. We saw Greenville making fun of Tormenta a little bit during the week on social media with the play from last game when he caused somebody to fall over. More like the ankle breakers, Omar Mohamed's trademark.
A good bit of fun. This and really the Lansing-Madison matchup have been the two rivalries really, it seems like, developing in the first year of League One.
Yeah, there's been some talk about, do you let rivalries develop naturally, or as a league? I don't think the league's particularly forced them. I think this one obviously is the natural geographic rivalries, and they've been super tight games that have helped that.
Antley sends the ball in over everyone and through the bunch. This will trickle towards the other side, out of play, back to Greenville. And talking to a League One coach earlier this season, saying really these rivalries are all about history, and maybe you should let those develop a bit. But certainly with a moment like in the Lansing-Madison early rivalry where they had 3 goals all in stoppage time, and a crazy finish that gave Lansing a 3 points that may be vital towards the end of the season. That's certainly a moment everyone will remember in those two fan bases.
Yeah, the way the schedule's been a little unbalanced too, and we haven't seen. Ooh, it's going to be a card. We haven't seen Greenville play Toronto yet. There's some anger around this call. Max Hemmings is upset about it. He's like, I got kicked just like last week and it was a red card. What are we going to give this week? See if referee Soriano has a word with his 4th official or not. And Omar Mohamed is down.
First bringing the trainer on, as we'll take a look here.
Oof, kicked him right in the midriff. It's minimum a yellow, you would think, for Charlie Dennis. We'll see what happens here. I don't think it was quite as egregious as the one last week. He's going to his back pocket though. He's thinking about it.
And Soriano is clearly talking to his other referees on the mic to see what the decision should be.
Yeah, it's a red. Well, no, well, we're not. What? Can't take the suspense.
As he continues to back away here, and we'll have to see what the call is officially.
I think yellow would be fair. The one last week was a lot more egregious into the face.
Tyler Polak, the captain of Greenville, coming over just to...
It looks like Soriano's getting some stuff from his 4th official, perhaps, who's right there on the sideline and had a very good view of it, especially as he saw that from that angle where the boot hit Omar Mohamed, excuse me.
And if you notice on the replay, the angle that Soriano had here was, he was looking at the back of Mohamed. You don't necessarily see the contact that well from that. The 4th official may have seen more. That's exactly what you should do as an officiating crew. As he's just trying to find some space here.
I was going to say, they need to give him some space so he can have the discussion with the, as you can see, the 4th official, and without having people in his face and hearing what he's having to say. Appears to be putting the red card away. Looks like it may well be just a yellow. That's probably a fair decision.
And the officiating crew making their decision there on the field. It will be a yellow card for Charlie Dennis, his 3rd of the season. We'll take another look at this one meanwhile.
Yeah, you have to assume Mr. Soriano was confirming where the contact was made, because you see the angle there. You couldn't exactly see where it was. And Maybe just confirming with the fourth official that it was in the chest and not in the face, like last week. We saw the blood last week. There was no doubt about that one.
That could have been a huge moment there for Tormenta, losing one of their key players, but instead he'll be able to continue with a yellow card.
So anytime you get your foot above that waist high, you're in danger of getting a card. And again, sometimes the contact, the result decides on the color of the card. Just clumsy there from Charlie Dennis.
Seiler over this. He'll bat this downfield in the 59. Flicked up by Gomez. After it is Boland. Trapped in the corner. And a foul called against the winger for Greenville. Looking for the latest USL League One news and content? Follow at USL League One on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for exclusive access and updates. And as we've been mentioning overall, keep an eye out always for Goal of the Week and Save of the Week nominations. Player of the Month voting also up for the month of July, as we're at August 3rd already this season. Boland down the right flank. Knutson, poor touch, Gomez. Seiler up with the attack. He'll have a go at it, slides it in there, but Hara with his fingertips getting over to that one for the save. Gomez stepping up, Greenville continuing the pressure as they're up to 7 shots now here today. Still just 1 for Tormenta as we move deeper into this second half.
Yeah, half hour to go, and you have to perhaps think the substitutes are going to start flowing here soon. Again, they already used 1 earlier, so they have to be a little careful. They're just creating very little offensively, boys in white tonight. Also, you have to give plenty of credit to that Greenville back 4, and also Klaus and Walker. We haven't mentioned too much on the defensive end of things tonight, but that's a good thing.
Gomez down the right flank. Keep in mind, Tormenta having to use one of their 3 allotted substitutions on that injury to Vignals in the first half, so they have 2 left. Greenville still with 3. Moving through is Cadono, flicked on. Gomez, Hemmings.
It was a lovely turn there and touched by Morale, but a poor touch by Cadono. Yeah, here come the substitutions now, or at least 1.
Yeah, it looks like, at least for now, Tormenta getting set to make their second substitution of tonight's match. Lee takes it in and works it around the outside. Greenville content with this 1-0 lead if you're just joining us. Keegan in the first half, converting his 8th of the season, now tied for second with Perusa in the Golden Boot race. Walker. Gomez through ball. Keegan's there, battling with Antley and offsides as this will be brought back. And the substitution looks to come on for Tormenta.
Yeah, you'd have to think perhaps bringing off. Not going to bring off one of the DMs perhaps at this point, but there's going to be interesting substitutions. It'll tell us exactly what Coach Milarese has in mind.
And it will be Jad Arslan that comes in for Caleb Jackson. This is what I was kind of alluding to earlier. And my assumption with this at least is that Arslan will come into one of those fullback spots. Antley will move to the other one. And then, of course, Charlie Dennis will move up with the offense.
Let's see what happens here. Maybe Cadona goes up top.
And Arslan moving over to that left back spot, at least for now, it looks like. There's Dennis moving up the field a bit as Jackson didn't seem too flashy out there today. He's been in there more for his hold-up play with this offense, and that showed well against OCB, of course, a few weeks ago with the 4 goals, but fortunately not today as Cadono looks to move to the top of the formation.
This is perhaps what we thought they would start off with, and see if it makes a difference. Charlie Dennis can be a threat out there, obviously, but he's played 62 minutes at left back. How much does he have left in the tank?
Greenville getting set to make a sub of their own coming up. That'll be their first of the evening. We're hearing it's going to be Edmundo Robinson, who scored on a PK against North Texas.
He's impressed in his last 2 sub appearances. This one he's going to get a little more time tonight. I think the last ones have only been less than 20 minutes. Now he's going to get a good 28 to show off his skills.
3v3 on this near side as Pollock battling with Antley, and it is Pollock that draws the foul. Free kick for the Triumph.
Yeah, superb work there by Tyler Pollock, getting his body in front of Connor Antley.
Here is Robinson coming on for Omar Muhammad. His night is done, and we'll see how this changes the formation. He did stick primarily to that left wing spot against North Texas.
Maybe just a straight swap, I think.
Number 31, Edmundo
Robinson created the penalty last week from that left side. So it's great to cut him back in, and similar moves to Muhammad, just a little stronger.
Of course, Muhammad had the assist on that Keegan goal for Muhammad, that his first of the season. As Robinson coming in, making his 7th appearance overall, the native of Stone Mountain, Georgia, and former Queens College player. Dennis saves that. Boland after it. Antley gets the touch, but won't win possession.
I like that substitution for John Harkes, not getting too defensive just yet. A straight swap there and just some fresh legs on the wing. Pressing this Tormenta team and perhaps force them into another mistake.
Here is Gomez. Boland deflected, and that has enough backspin on and out of play for the corner kick for the Triumph, looking for that insurance tally.
It does look like Dominic Boland will move over to this left wing, Chris. Edmundo Robinson on the right.
Gomez standing over the ball, calling out a play there. 3 assists this season. Had one on the second Keegan goal against North Texas. Ball sent in, headed away by Phelps. Stays alive inside the box and cleared once more by the Australian. Out of play, and will stay with Hemmings and the Triumph. Cadona, 1v1 with Lee. Out of play, and Lee flicks it on over to Hemmings. Not sure. Yes, this will be a foul the other way, and now Greenville gets to bat this into the box.
That's what Edmundo Robinson brings. He's a wide body. He's hard to get around, and got some good hold-up play. Perhaps Jake Keegan can run off that as well. We'll see if they can produce with him. John Harkes, would love that second goal here.
Gomez will take it. Headed on, Harrer will pick it up. A foul called against the Triumph anyway. As Robinson and Keegan are caught up there.
Anytime you've got, as I said, the physical presence of this back four, there's going to be some messes in the box. And it seems like tonight we've had a few of those where just bodies colliding and players going down. And Jake Keegan trying to step up physically, though. He's not the biggest player in the world. He's towered over by these back four, well, the back three now, I should say, with Dennis moving up.
Gomez chips it down the left flank. On the run is Arslan. He'll get to it, but it trickles out of play. Throwing coming for the Triumph. Fans of USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Seiler standing with the ball there for the throw-in. Antley thought about stepping into that shot as Dennis Takes it in, right flank, working against Dominic Boland. Boland. Late tumble on that one, but play continues over to Robinson. Advantage is played by Wilmer Soriano. Robinson down the right flank. He brings that pace. Knutson going to get to it first to clear it out of play. Well, that's a good point on that play, though, is that you have Antley and Dennis attacking their right flank, but that means on the left flank, Parks moves Boland and Pollock, and that's strong defense against strong offense, certainly.
You know, Don Boland did well there, and it's great to see Armando Robinson running at people. You heard what it did for the crowd. They're looking for some excitement in this game. They've had the one goal, obviously, but other than that, it's been a little bit, let's not use the word dire, that's being a little bit rough, but it's been patches of non-excitement, but here we go now. Greenville starting to push up here.
Boland was at that back post, almost getting the header in, but it was cleared just in time. Klaus here in the 69th, over to Pollock. Here's Lee. Seiler. Robinson. Hemmings back to Robinson.
Good work.
Cross sent in. Bit too much power on that one. Hopped out of play briefly, and it will be a goal kick for Hara and Tormenta.
And the crowd disagreeing, but if Greenville can continue to pin Tormenta inside their final third and not allow them to get that counter-attacking style going, really haven't showed much tonight at all.
Again, Greenville 5-1-1 this season when scoring first. That one loss coming against FC Tucson in the last home match. But for Tormenta, they have conceded first in 7 matches. 4 of those they have fought back for either a win or a draw. They're certainly no stranger to being down, but certainly not out as they try to fight back here in the 70th.
Yep, still only the one shot on goal, though. They just don't look quite the same team as we've seen a couple of months ago, and especially without some key components tonight. Need to find a spark, or perhaps a Greenville mistake, something special perhaps from the likes of Charlie Dennis. He can produce them.
Dennis battling with Boland. He'll chip it over the top. Good coverage by Lee as he'll head it on briefly. Dennis. And past the foot of Morel. Out of play. Throw-in for the triumph.
Yeah, give Cole Seiler. Some people still like to call him Goal Seiler when he finds the back of net like he has this season twice. But yeah, give him credit for sliding into that center back spot. The back four hasn't looked like it's missed a beat at all with the loss of Kevin Politz.
Lee sends it down the field. Some score updates around League One. 2-0 Lansing in the 71st. Chattanooga, North Texas still 0-0 in that weather delay. Lightning in the area potentially with all these thunderstorms in the southeast. And in the 30th minute, Merle soccer between Madison and Tucson scoreless at Breese Stevens Field. So definitely could turn into that one on ESPN Plus when our match is over in the next 19 minutes plus stoppage time.
Yeah, Lansing with 18 total shots in that game, 8 on goal. OCB continued to struggle even under new coaching style, but we knew coming into the season we weren't sure what these affiliate sides would be using League One for, whether it's to take a look at players or really compete for the title. We've seen the difference between what North Texas have done. Obviously, the FC Dallas Academy has been great for years.
Keegan battling. Keegan winning the ball. He'll spur the attack the other way. Here comes Walker. Out wide to Robinson, but Arslan getting there just before him. Throw in for the triumph.
Yeah, not quite enough pace on that ball there. Good work there by Jad Arslan, though.
Arslan, the former West Virginia player, spending 3 years with Tormenta 2 before spending the season with the League One side. Headed away by Phelps. Falls here. Klaus powers the shot, but wide of that far post there. as it's a goal kick for Hara.
I don't think it was quite as close as the oohs and ahs from the River Riot suggested, but still a good effort. Plenty of power on it.
That'll be shot number 8 for Greenville tonight. Just 2 on target, though. And still just that 1 shot for Tormenta.
So we figured out earlier this season that Greenville, a lot of their games were going to be 1-0. When you get to the playoffs, defense that's all you need. Hopefully Paul Clouds is down here.
Down after that contact. Still 2 substitutions remaining for Greenville, 1 for Tormenta. Let's take a second here. Who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL League One Power Rankings, only on USLLeague1.com. And last week's Power Rankings, Greenville one of the biggest movers following their win over North Texas, up to number 3 overall, up 5 spots from number 8. Let's take another look here. What happened to Paul Klaus?
Just got clipped on the way by.
As Klaus is tended to. Reedy River Riot, they're standing in attendance. Some early rain this evening here in Greenville, but gave way to some beautiful soccer here as we approached halftime and deep into the second half. Again, John Harks and his side can move up to sole possession of 4th place with a victory here today. Tormenta, meanwhile, still tied for 2nd with Lansing, but Lansing currently up, could move up to 33 points, 3 ahead of Tormenta after this evening if the results stand. Clouds still being tended to.
Yeah, we're seeing John Harks talking to his players now. You know, what a valuable asset he is to this club and the experience he brings in these situations of tight games. And even though his were on a much bigger stage, in our conference calls with him, we learn something every week from John Harks.
Sure.
And you can imagine what his players are learning. He talks to Sammy Gadiri, perhaps looks like he's coming into the game.
Sammy Gadiri looks like at least he's getting set to enter the match. 9 appearances this season.
Not exactly sure where he'll slot in. He's played some striker this season. He's played a bit on the wing. Some fresh legs for sure.
And it is Sammy Gadiri coming in for Paul Klaus, who was being treated right there. Gadiri, the Boca Raton native.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. I wonder if perhaps Carlos Gomez might drop back a little bit. I mean, John Harks was giving Sammy Gadiri some grief earlier in the season when he wanted him playing really high and pressing, and he was coming back to help too much. None of us will know what instructions he's got tonight, but we'll see where he slots in. He obviously won't be a defensive midfield, you would think. Paul Klaus usually sits.
Number 21, Sammy Gadiri. And leaving the match, number 6, Paul Klaus.
And Walker, who has been aggressive at times in this match tonight, certainly will take a step back now and try to help out in that defensive midfield role. Jay over this free kick, 77th minute, and Greenville still up 1-0 on that Keegan first half goal. I'm Chris McCovic, alongside me, Ross Davenport, bringing the action here on ESPN Plus. As it's the 3rd edition of League One action between these two sides, 4th in all competitions, including that Open Cup match earlier this campaign. As the next time these two clubs will see each other, it will be on the final match day in USL League One.
You have to think the way things are going that match may come down to something, perhaps a playoff spot or even seeding.
It's sort of poetic, a little fitting. We start USL League One's history, Tormenta Greenville, and it may end that way in the regular season with a huge match with a lot at stake. And Greenville certainly looking to up that stake with a win here today. Coutinho grabbed from behind, puts the through ball on. Seiler makes the stop, but advantage was played. This will be brought back for a free kick from midfield.
A smart foul by Aaron Walker there to stop that counterattack. He'll take the yellow card all day for that.
And Walker, one of the captains of this team, certainly a veteran, knows what he's doing there. A little tug, doesn't hurt anyone, and will slow up play enough, and he'll get the yellow card.
Yeah, he knows just as well as anybody where this Tormenta threat comes from. It's on the counter-attack, especially in these late game situations when they're down a goal. And you can do to slow it down even if you take a card. You got to do it.
Fourth yellow card of the season for Aaron Walker. This ball is knocked ahead. Morel working against his opposite number, gets it towards the end line, but a bit too hard on that tip as it's into the hands of Dallas J.
So if I'm correct, that puts him 1 yellow away from a suspension, right?
Correct. So
along with Tyler Pollock
Chris
and Chris Bermudez, who is on the bench tonight. Dominic Boland was up there, but there's a rule if you play a certain amount of games without getting a card, you get one taken away, which is what happened to the Scotsman. Foul there by Edmundo Robinson.
Exactly why Marco Micheletto isn't playing this evening after a yellow card against Lansing last week. And something certainly a lot of these coaches have to manage as we move deeper and deeper into the season. Dennis, moving centrally, knocks it ahead. Gomez back over to Phelps. Dennis, Coutinho. Antley running to the end line, but off sides, as it will be a free kick back to Greenville.
Connor Antley having a word with the assistant referee, not particularly agreeing with the decision, but Dallas J will take his time here. Hasn't been called upon much tonight. I think I was looking at the stats today. He's definitely down the bottom of the consistent goalkeeper starters in amongst saves. And well, as a goalkeeper, you want to be making those fantastic saves. You'll take games where you don't make a save, or 1 or 2 saves and win 1-0 every time.
Well, you look at the Golden Glove discussion here in League One, and at least in my opinion, it's going to come down to these two, Dallas J and Pablo Jara, as a foul is called here on the late challenge and probably another yellow card. Indeed it is.
Yeah, another smart foul there by Max Hemmings. Tyler Pollock was caught up the pitch, and Max Hemmings knew that and stuck a foot in there.
Hemmings, his second of the season.
Saved his captain's embarrassment a little bit.
Number 5, Max Hemmings, in the 81st minute.
Time dwindling for Tormenta, but still just over 9 minutes remaining for stoppage time.
I think that does, though, now it makes Hemmings and Walker a little tentative here in these last 10 minutes. When you've got that, you need to make that last-ditch tackle perhaps and risk getting a card. Do you do it, or do you let him go? We'll have to see if that plays a factor here in the last 9 minutes plus stoppage time.
Gomez tracked pretty well by Coutinho, but the Brazilian couldn't get there in time. Final substitution getting set to come in the next stoppage for Tormenta, as it sounds like Nick Wells will be entering for Shinya Kadona. Gomez over the ball, trying to get through traffic, stolen back by Gadiri. Through ball, Gomez into the box, stopped by Phelps, out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Jara.
Yeah, that's exactly what John Harkes wants out of Sammy Kadiri. Get in that final third and create havoc back there.
We'll let the substitution occur as it will be the end of the night for the Loudoun United loanee. And coming on is Nick Wells, a former Tormenta 2 player the last 2 seasons, and Georgia Southern product, making 61 appearances for his college side.
Yeah, Nick Wells had a couple of starts earlier in the season, but we haven't seen much of him since mid-May. That shows you how much this team is struggling with depth at the moment. They're getting to the bottom of the roster.
The Tormenta team with a lot of injuries, so potent to start the year, but they've dealt with a lot of injury troubles that have halted their depth as the season has gone on, but somehow, some way, consistent enough to stay at that second position in League One. They may lose that briefly here today, though. This stays as a loss, and Lansing holds on for their victory against OCB.
Yeah, it's a big-time credit to Coach Mia Racy and the whole program, bringing these guys up from T2. Yeah, they lost. I mean, Michael Bledsoe was their second goalkeeper signed, was going to be the backup, and he tore his ACL in preseason. Peter Pearson hasn't played yet this year. Again, Mike O'Sullivan got a knee problem. Chris Hellman, knee problem. McEnroe with a concussion. The list continues.
And a lot of names you said there were featured players to start the year. Chris Hellman was a starter for their squad along with Lars Eckenrode. Shows their depth, able to fill in and continue the success here in the 84th and maybe the Triumph's day. Up 1-0 on the Keegan goal in the first half.
Yeah, they could certainly use Hellman's goal scoring ability. He was a great scorer in college and seems to perhaps be coming closer to a return. We'll see over the next couple of weeks.
Arslan up ahead down the left flank. Maybe something brewing for Tormenta. Quick spin of it for Antley, who's on the left flank now. Brought down from behind on the tackle, and this probably should be a yellow card. As it's Gadiri newly on the pitch, but it'll be in the books as well.
Greenville getting a little loose here in these last 5 minutes or so. It's 3 yellow cards. Again, the first 2 were smart one. Sammy Gadiri just beating for pace for Connor Antley, and this time the tackle. He had help behind the man in front of him. Maybe a little unnecessary, and especially with the height that this team provides in the box. This one's going to be trouble here.
First yellow of the season for Gadiri as a key opportunity for Tormenta. Ball whipped in, headed up and away, out. And a foul, maybe bringing this back as a pseudo goal kick for Dallas J.
Yeah, professional fouls like you saw from Hemmings and Walker are fine in that middle third around the halfway line, but you don't want to be doing what Sammy Gadiri did against this team with the amount of height they have and giving free kicks away on the wing and allowing a ball crossed in like that. But Greenville got away with it again.
Wasn't offsides there during the run of play from the set piece. Dennis looking downfield, he'll service it that way. Here's Keegan on the run. Harwer gets there in time as Phelps bodies the forward away. Things getting tangled up on the back end though, off camera.
John Harrick's asking the fourth official if he got a look at it. He was on his radio, but good distance away. Don Smart with a late goal in the first half of forward. Madison at 1-0 now against Toussaint.
Over the top, headed up, but into the arms of Jay as Boland has moved back to that right back spot. Lansing up 3-0 now at home in the 86th. Looking to lock in the 3 points and a move into sole possession of second here in League One.
Speaking of locking up, I think Rafa Minskin may have scored the goal, and that might lock up his Player of the Month victory. He was in the lead earlier today when I voted. Rightly so, he's had a great month. Had a great month of July.
Going down is Hemmings.
His head's taken a beat in the last couple of weeks. This might be just a shoulder and neck. We'll see.
And for Lansing, that would be back-to-back Players of the Month if Minzingen's able to hold on. It was Stefan Cleveland, their goalkeeper, who was the late addition to the squad. Minzingen has come on of late in the season as he wasn't seen much in the 18 to start the year. Jad Arslan, we're seeing, got a yellow card on that last play. Another look. Sub on here in the second half.
Yeah, high elbow. It was an easy one for the referee. Had a great view of it. Did Wilma Sariano. Be careful. The goal for forward Madison means that Greenville is sitting in 5th place at the moment. 2 points now behind forward Madison, but prime position to make a run at this playoff.
Last week we saw only one home team win in League One, and right now we're looking at maybe 2 to 3 here that are in the lead across the league on this Saturday evening.
That's soccer though, right? You seem to have these wacky weeks even in the Premier League when I'm watching, you're like, what just happened? And then it might happen again a couple of months down the road, but yeah, it's going to be great fun down the stretch here for this race to the playoffs.
Walker, Gomez, out wide to Robinson. Working against Arslan. Sends the ball low across Hara. Gadiri misses the strike. Phelps and Tormenta get out of the situation. And here's Dennis streaking the other way. Poor pass there given away to Robinson. He goes down. But that at least slows up Tormenta for this Greenville side. Morel whips it in there, knocked back by Polak. Stays alive for Tormenta. Wells. Antley. Cross in, high one. This will tiptoe the end line and go out of play for a Greenville goal kick. Another look at the opportunity here for Greenville.
Great work down the right side by Edmund Robinson doing what he does. It wasn't the best of crosses, and Pablo Hara made a right mess of it, but the ball actually, if you watch it again, the ball just spun away from Sami Gadiri at the last second when it bounced, and he couldn't get a left foot on it. Hara did just enough to make sure that it wasn't a quality chance for the men from Boca.
Robinson and Arslan going at it, and it will stay with the Triumph as they approach stoppage time here from Legacy Early College, looking to hold on for a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a good chunk of stoppage time here, at least 4 minutes.
Out of play right now. We are hearing 5 minutes of stoppage time from the sideline. The Tormenta certainly down but not out here as we approach the end of the match.
The fourth official has indicated 5 minutes.
There it is officially 5 minutes of stoppage time here for Tormenta to come back on the road. Corner kick for Greenville.
Yeah, this will be a big win for the men in green and blue. It'll make 10 points in their last 6 games and really pushes them up the table. They've been getting results a little help elsewhere, as we said, and puts them right on the brink of the playoffs now and go on this road trip.
Out of play, stays with Tormenta. If they're able to hold on for the win, they'll be hoping for an FC Tucson comeback, at least to equalize. But Greenville at least will move to 5th place with a win in the live table.
And Tormenta now, this result holds only 2 points ahead of Forward Madison, who are in 4th.
Madison and Greenville, 2 teams that started this season pretty slow, but certainly getting things going as we move past the midway point of the season and into the final stretch. Gadiri working against Phelps.
Good work, Sami Gadiri.
Robinson. He'll hold on to possession here, try to burn some time. Big matchups, of course, as well coming up for Greenville, as they'll have 2 of their next 3 in Toronto. And also face that hot Madison squad 2 times in the next 4, including here at Legacy Early College on the 17th.
And again, Toronto did look very solid at home a couple of months ago, but now looking very beatable.
And again, for the Triumph fans out there, that will be a 4 p.m. start on Friday. No lights at the BMO training ground, so some of those afternoon matinees, I guess you can call them.
It's going to interrupt Tyler Polak's afternoon nap.
They'll be dealing with Perusa and that Toronto offense, so he may need it. Along with this defense. Boy, that should be a fun one. Toronto's a high-flying offense at times this season against Greenville's stout defense.
Tormenta still with just that 1 shot on goal in extra time here, injury time, excuse me.
That's a feat in itself for this Greenville defense. Antley the strike, deflected away in the box. Stays alive and cleared by Greenville. Chested down by Knudsen. And it stays alive with Tormenta. Rayon Choi getting set to come in. As this goes out of play on the near side.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wells getting set for the throw-in.
for Greenville.
But there
In the
is
94th
Choi
minute,
coming in
entering the match is number 13
for
Rayon
Carlos
Choi.
Gomez.
And leaving the match, number 10
Yeah, the
Carlos
first true defensive
Gomez.
substitution here for John Hawks. Rayon Choi has come in late in a couple of games and impressed. Perhaps sit maybe in front of the back four. We'll see where he slots in.
Be making his third appearance overall this season. Former High Point University product.
Carlos Gomez worked hard tonight. We didn't call his name much, but work off the ball and defensively obviously made a big impact on his clean sheet.
Wells a throw-in. Phelps whips it to the other side. Time dwindling here in stoppage time for Tormenta to equalize. Walker battles Dennis off the ball. Choi cuts it back. Gadiri. Keegan. Hemmings to Robinson. And Greenville and the Reedy River Riot feeling 3 points here at home this evening. A foul is called against Arslan. He's on a yellow already.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we've seen from Greenville this season, this is a trademark victory. Did what they had to do, solid defensively again, just as we've come to expect, and got the sniper goal from Jake Keegan. This is the kind of game they're going to win. Obviously, last week was a bit of a fluke against North Texas, but the Tucson loss as well was a bit of a fluke. They evened each other out, I think, and this is what we're going to expect from Greenville on the way in, and this is a team that can perhaps win on the road like this as well. Especially now things are really starting to come together.
And there it is, the final whistle. 2 straight clean sheets for Greenville, and of course 2 straight wins. The 3 points here at home on a 1-0 victory over Tormenta. Got the goal early and able to finish it late.
Yeah, Greenville wins. Most of them aren't going to be pretty, but it's a work-like effort. Another 3 points as they continue to move up the table.
There's the goal scorer with 8 goals on the season. Tied for second in the Golden Boot race. It is Jake Keegan with the winner today as we get set for our full match highlights here from Greenville, South Carolina. The Reedy River Riot in celebration here with this 1-0 victory. 3 big points for the Triumph as we take a look at the action in front of us this evening, where Greenville and Tormenta at each other early on, but it was Greenville with the primary chances throughout the match, and Tormenta feeding itself as Greenville defense getting just 1 shot.
Yeah, again, watch the run here by Jake. A little side step to his left to open himself up in space, and a great finish with his right foot.
There's the goal that made the difference in today's match as Jake Keegan gets his 8th of the season and his 3rd in the last 2.
That's a run of a confident striker, knowing where that space is naturally and finding it, and a great one-touch finish.
Of course, Omar Muhammad with the assist as well down the left flank on that tally. Get the 1-0 start to the match. This is the second best chance as Walker sliced this one into the left post.
He's getting confident as well from the outside with that long strike. Another long strike there from Omar Muhammad, but well over the bar. What a great move that was.
Some confidence for this offense. They did have 8 shots, but just 2 on target. Walker again sizing up the opportunity from outside. This Tormenta team, they didn't seem like they did anything really wrong tonight. Just they couldn't get those chances going with a player like Micheletto out, which may have added something to that storyline.
No, definitely short-handed, and not longest of road trips, but against a Greenville team that's playing real well. And when you're missing guys, that can be the difference in this league.
And of Of course, keep in mind Vignol's leaving in this match. This another great chance, but Gadiri just couldn't get on top of it with that backspin.
Yeah, Pablo Hart didn't make any of his trademark amazing saves tonight, but that was a half-decent one, and he just got just enough of it that that ball spun away from Gadiri.
We mentioned this a few times, a shot discrepancy on the board, a physical battle as well between these two teams. 32 combined fouls conceded, along with those 5 yellow cards, a majority of those happening at the end of the match.
Yeah, it was a very physical affair. We talked about those late 3 yellows. 2 of them were very, very smart fouls. The late one, Gadiri, not so much, but they got away with it. Greenville 1-0 victory, just like they've been becoming used to doing these days.
So Greenville getting the 1-0 victory at home here today, bouncing back after their last home loss. They've won their last 2 with 2 straight clean sheets, and now they'll be looking ahead to a date with Toronto coming up on Friday at 4 p.m. on ESPN+. I'm Chris McCoy. Thank you for the entire crew alongside me, Ross Davenport. Greenville moving up the standings and certainly putting some pressure on those playoff position teams. We'll see you next time right here on ESPN+.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.